Hi, friends. Last month I was invited to gather with a group of Quakers in the Midwest and speak on the theme Deep Water Faith. I think for the last 18 months or so, a lot of us have felt like our lives have been swamped by fear, by grief, by loss, by all of the challenges associated with the pandemic. And I think along the way, I've even met some people who feel like their faith is on the verge of even being shipwrecked by some of these things. And so we spent some time together as a group focusing on different texts of Scripture that wrestle with the question of how it is we live faithfully in times that are scary and frightful. In thinking about those texts, though, I became mindful of why it is that Jesus was a carpenter and not a sailor or a fisherman. Every time it seems like he gets around a boat, there's a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, think about it. Somebody's about to drown, the ship's about to be capsized, equipment gets ruined, and almost everyone in the scene is about to lose their minds with fear because of what's going on. So Jesus around boats is not always a great notion, it seems to me. Whoever came up with that song, Jesus Take the Wheel, was clearly not a boat owner, and I would have been the disciple who would have said, "Look, Jesus, we will follow you wherever you want to go, but you do not get to drive the boat again. You are frightening the bejeebies out of us." Well, what's interesting, however, is that in Latin, the word for religion actually has connections to boating. It means, or at least one of the definitions, is to be bound to safety, to be tied to an anchor so that you're not carried out into the deep. And over the next few weeks of doing these little videos, I want to talk about deep water faith, and I'm going to lift up the necessity of having an anchor and how religion can be a safe harbor for us during times when our lives feel out of control. The corresponding reality, the paradoxical truth, though, is that a boat that never leaves its dock is of actually no use. It's not living into its sense of purpose and into the reason why it's created. And it seems to me that faith is about this life of adventure. It's about being out in the deep water, going to those places where God is calling us to, where we learn a sense of dependency and find ourselves in the place where we see the miraculous actually happen. Being in over our heads is actually a good thing when we're there with God. So we'll be wrestling around some of the texts of Scripture and some of the ideas that may help us think about how it is we live faithfully in these circumstances rather than being overwhelmed by fear. For today, can I encourage you, if you're willing, to maybe share what are the sources of fear in your life these days? As you think about what God is calling you to do, are there things that feel threatening? You can share those in the chat section. Or maybe share what it is that you need right now in your life in order to live faithfully into the situations that God may be calling you. And as a community, as a global community of friends, maybe we can hold you in prayer. Maybe ones who are reading in the chat can offer you some wisdom and support along the way. Bless you as you do this, and if there's a way that FUM or I can be helpful for you and your faith and your service, please reach out and let us know. Peace to you.